April Hall got involved in Scientology when she was only 6 or 7 years old, when her mother in Florida got involved in Scientology and eventually joined the Sea Organization. April eventually moved to California with her mother and was raised in the Cadet Organization in the mid-1970s in Los Angeles. And she was eventually made the commanding officer of the Cadet Organization at the age of 12. April also is a longtime friend and a former messenger with Janis and me at the Gillham Hot Springs Gold International Base. And we have not seen April in over 34 years. She left Scientology in 1997, and she's here to start telling her story. We think you'll find it informative. Please stay tuned. Aloha, everybody. Welcome back to our channel, Scientology Peeling the Onion. My name is Mark Fisher, and I'm here with my co-host, Janis Gillham Grady. Janis, how you doing right now?
Good, Mark. Good day, everybody, and welcome to Scientology Peeling the Onion. And
yeah, we got a surprising show today, which is something that we're really happy about, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm very excited about this guest because this guest is not an old friend, a longtime friend. And she's the type of friend that you know is a true friend. And we hadn't seen each other in 34 years. And it was just like old times, you know, laughing, telling stories and remembering different things. It's been great.
Yeah, and I've known her. I haven't seen her in that same period of time, 34 years. I wasn't as close or didn't know her as well, but she knew my ex-wife. They were good friends. And of course, we knew each other when we were at the Int base. And like you said, we just recently reconnected, and we're happy to have her. So why don't you go ahead and introduce?
Yeah. So today's guest is April Hall. Some people way back will know her as April O'Brien, but she married James Hall at the base, and she's been known since then as April Hall. So let's bring April on.
Hi, April. How you doing?
Hi. I'm great.
Welcome. We've been having fun. We've been having fun, Mark. April and I just hanging out, looking at photos and chatting away for the last 2 days.
Yeah, and then you were there for Elizabeth, Janis's granddaughter's birthday, right?
Yes, that was fun.
Yeah, isn't she a sweet girl?
And I got to see Terry, Janis's sister, who I knew first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she knew Terry before me.
I know.
So,
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm glad you got to see each other. It's been a long time, but you know, it's funny whenever we run into the people that we knew at the base. It's been like 34 years, right? To me, it just seems like old times. You know what I mean? It's like I know 34 years have passed, but you know, we still remember each other. We have stories that we like to tell each other, and it's like we're like comrades returning together.
Yeah, I just feel like we pick up where we left off.
Exactly. Yeah. And, we had been in touch with each other over the years, and I'd send her messages and we'd text and stuff, but it's not the same as when you get back together and actually see each other.
Exactly. Okay, great. And April, do you want to say, what you do these days and all that? I mean, you left, what year did you leave? You left the Sea Org and Scientology. What year was that? And what do you do? Just briefly.
End of 97, early 98. I left the Gold Base or Int base, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's the nothing base.
Gillham Hot Springs. Yeah, Gillham Hot Springs.
Yeah, Gillham Hot Springs.
Fabulous.
And right now, I have a snorkel tour company in the Caribbean. It's called Mermaid Adventures.
Oh, wow.
I use dive propulsion vehicles, and I take people on snorkel tours at a bunch of different gorgeous snorkel sites and educate them on all the critters and what's where and what you can touch and what you can't touch and how you can interact. And we have a great time. We get to swim with dolphins and turtles almost every day.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
it sounds like a dream job.
Yeah, she's got some great photos that they've taken under the ocean, you know, of the turtles and sharks and different things like that. Yeah, so I'm going to book a tour with Mermaid Adventures.
Yeah, I definitely would want to come down and visit. So you'll have to, you know, hopefully there's a place that we can find nearby and stay. And I would love the warm weather because it gets cold here.
Well, you can stay at our place.
Well, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so shall we go ahead, Janis, get started?
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's go to the beginning of the incident and just tell us when you were there.
Which incident? The Sea Org incident or the Scientology incident?
Let's start with the Scientology incident. What your mom got into Scientology? Yeah.
Yeah, she got into Scientology. She was a very, very spiritual lady and totally into past lives. Even asked me if I remembered past lives, and I surprised her and said, "Oh yeah, I was in England and I was 5 and got in a car wreck and died in a roundabout." And she was totally taken aback by that, and it's like, wow. And I said, "Yeah, and I picked you to be my mom." I didn't want to be in England anymore. She was in Florida when I was born.
When was this? What time period are we talking?
We're talking 60s.
Okay.
And she went to one of the organizations and got touch assist and read Dianetics and read a whole bunch of, past lives. I think the past lives book was out, or the book one of the books that talks a lot about past lives, which is the main thing she was interested in. And she got in that way. And she didn't make me do anything necessarily. She divorced my dad because my dad at the time was not really into that. Mm-hmm. And she married him really young. She had me when she was 19. Mm-hmm. So she was really young. And she wanted to explore, and they amicably divorced, and I lived with my grandparents, which were nearby. So I could go between both parents, and my grandparents were happy to take care of me. And I got to go to the church while my mom was on course there.
Where was this at? Which church?
It was in Miami, at Miami Org organization. My spouse tells me that I talk in all abbreviations and acronyms. That's what she says all Scientologists and Sea Org members do. She actually helped me write my book that I will soon publish. But anyway, yeah, I had to confer with her on how to talk to people.
Right.
So they would understand. But anyway, yeah, I was at Miami Org, and she had me come visit, and I got to see other kids, and I was playing with other kids there, and I really, really liked it. And I decided that I wanted to do one of the courses. So she got me on TR's course, and I did that, and I had a blast doing it.
How old were you?
I was 7.
Okay.
I had a really awesome supervisor at the time, and the church was booming, and it was so different than anything now. So different. Yeah. Everybody was happy and enjoying the courses, and enjoying their wins. And I got indoctrinated right then to share your wins and want to share with people to have the same wins as you had. Mm-hmm. So right away, I wanted to do that. I wanted to have other people have the same wins I was having. So oddly enough, I went to go see my dad's mother, my grandmother, on my dad's side in Sarasota. That was the first time I ever went on a plane. I was 7 years old by myself.
Oh,
Wow.
And went to see her. Wasn't too far. It was from Miami to Sarasota, but still,
yeah.
back in the day, that was a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Nowadays, it's not a big deal, but yeah, I went to see her, and I met a lot of kids that were there with their grandparents as well. She was in sort of a retired community type place in Sarasota. It was really, really nice. And she put me in art school, and I got to go in the pool and all kinds of stuff there. And I got those kids to do TRs every day. We did TRs every day, and we did assists, and we did, basic things that I had learned. And we all had a blast doing it.
But none of these kids were from Scientology families.
Not
Okay.
at all. Not at all. They just followed the flag waver. I've always been told I'm the flag waver. In fact, in elementary school, I got a leadership pen. I'm like, why? And they said, because everybody listens to you. I was like, really? I didn't even, I wasn't even really aware of it. I was just wanting to share. Like I said, I wanted to share how I felt and that I was happy and my wins. I was just trying to share with them, and I did. And they enjoyed it too. It wasn't like weird or odd to them.
Right.
It actually helped us do our art in the art class. We were able to focus. We had our TRs in, and we were drawing, and we were the best in the class. It was great.
Good.
So that's how I got in Scientology.
Right. Okay.
Then
So
did
then
you-
what? You went back to Miami, and your mom was there.
No, she went into the Sea Org.
Oh, so
And
she
I-
left your grandparents. Well, she went and joined the Sea Org in Los Angeles.
Yes. And I remember my grandparents helping her get her uniform together, and she explained it in terms that they could have, that they could
Right.
understand. And they were fine with it. They helped her. And she would take leave and come see me. But she didn't actually do that when I was 7. She did that when I was 8, the next year.
Okay.
Well, that explains why she had photographs from Beacon Street, because that was 1968, 1969 time
Well, when
period.
I got there, it was 1974.
They
and we
still had
had
Beacon Street.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's where they started Cadet Org.
Right.
Just
Now,
starting Cadet Org
explain how-
there.
No, I'm sorry, Janice, explain to our viewers what Beacon Street is.
Oh, okay. Beacon Street, we'll pull up a house here, is where it's where
We were both
I'll
looking at-
let you just pull it up.
No, that's fine.
But this is where the initial organization that was running, it was like the flag liaison office that was located in Los Angeles. And that was where the local management of the Sea Org unit in Los Angeles was. And there were these houses. There was like 3 houses on Beacon Street. And so that's where Alex Sabursky is the commanding officer of the U.S. liaison office commanded from. And that's where Kerry Gleason was, and Bill Foster, and all these original old timers that handled management. And my mother was even there for a while because she was the commanding officer of the advanced organization, Los Angeles. And then once she was replaced on that, she was there at Beacon Street while she set up Celebrity Center on 8th Street, which was just a few blocks away. So that's where it was all happening for headquarters of Scientology in the U.S. It
Yes.
wasn't broken down to West U.S. and East U.S. at this time. It was just the U.S.
Right. And 74 is when they got the Manor. And I think that's why they moved. My mom was an FBO, financial banking officer. That's what that stands for. And she was working out of the Manor. And they also got the Hollywood Inn. And so they had offices and both of those places.
Right. And I have pictures of those somewhere. I just didn't have time to get them ready for this interview. I was busy getting other photos ready.
And just so people know, the Manor is where Celebrity Center is to this day. It's over on Franklin Street, and it's now Celebrity Center. And the Hollywood Inn is, a lot of you people will know as the Scientology Test Center on Hollywood Boulevard. That's where the test center is, and they have their Christmas parades and all that sort of stuff. That's the Hollywood Inn.
Right.
Anyway.
But the point with the Manor, when it was first purchased, it was a Manor hotel plus that liaison office, the flag liaison office, moved over to the Manor from Beacon Street. And the Beacon Street houses were shut down and sold. So all the management was now in the Manor. And then the Guardian's office moved in and took the 6th and 7th floor. So that kind of became the hub for Los Angeles. And then they needed Sea Org berthing and got the Hollywood Inn.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you came out in 1974 to be with your mother?
Well, after my mom got in the Sea Org, she wanted me to come out to California where she was so I could see if I liked it and to see if I wanted to be there with her. She wasn't going to force me, thankfully. So I came out and I was 9. And I went to Beacon Street and went to Cadet Org there. Now, I loved California, but Cadet Org at Beacon Street was a total nightmare. My first day there, I got put in this small room that was a dormitory for girls. And some names you might know is Susie Newman.
Yep, Susie Bennick.
Yep. Beth Ann Hoxie. She was Beth Ann Hoxie at the time.
I didn't know her.
Robin Rawlings.
Rawlings, and the Rawlings, yeah.
Yeah, these girls were all in there. There was 9 people in there. And there was a slowpoke sucker in my pillow. And that was the room I was put in. I was like, wow, okay.
Wait a minute. What's a slowpoke sucker?
It's like a taffy, chocolate taffy kind of sucker.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Like a sugar daddy.
Yeah, it was stuck in my pillow.
So when you were given your pillow and it already had this.
Yeah.
Okay.
in the room that I was put in.
Okay.
I was made a nanny, and there was a guy his name was Fred Queen, and he was a child molester. He was the stepfather of the Rawlings, and he had rumored to have molested them. I'm sure he did. And he was in charge. And he
of
would
the cadets.
Yes. And he would come into our rooms in the morning and yell, "Reveille, reveille, reveille," to wake everybody up, because they did it military style. And he would come into the girls' dorm and do that. He didn't need to. He could do it from outside the door.
Right.
So we all made sure that we had clothes on and were fully dressed. We didn't like the fact that he did that. And there was also the rules were no men and women's dorms and vice versa. So
Right.
he was already operating against the rules by doing that. He had me sweep out a storage area that was a dirt floor. So I was sweeping a dirt floor. He had me scrub the galley one night, and then I scrubbed the galley floor, and he said, okay, do it over again. And I was getting so tired. And this kid that was in there with me, his name was Kurt Schweikert. I never forgot him because he said, look, I'll do it for you. Go ahead, go to bed.
Oh,
he was older than me,
that was
and he
sweet.
was nice. Yeah, it was very nice. So I took him up on that, and I said, well, what if we get caught? He goes, well, I can run faster than he can. That's what he said. I was like, okay. And I went to bed. And finally, I was over to being a nanny and these are babies. I'm 9 years old taking care of the Sea Org members' babies.
Wow.
I remember.
One of them was probably Holly Carlson's daughter, Jennifer Lovely.
Yes, she was. She was.
Yeah, okay.
I
Yeah,
took
because
care
we
of her.
interviewed Holly. We interviewed
I remember
Holly. And
exactly
Holly
how
talked about-
Jennifer looked too. Little blonde.
Oh, okay.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember her. And you remember Schwartz. Abel Schwartz was what's her name? Schwartz. Kid.
Gretchen, Fred Schwartz.
Fred Schwartz, and what was
And
his
Gretchen.
wife? Gretchen, I guess.
Gretchen. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it Gretchen? Something like Gretchen, for sure.
Yeah, it was Gretchen Schwartz. Yeah.
Yeah. Her little boy, Miriam Earl, Aragorn was her kid. He liked to take his shoes off everywhere we went. I was constantly gathering his shoes. If you lose them, I knew the Sea Org members weren't getting much money. I'm
Right.
like, how's she going to buy new shoes for him? So I would take a lot of time to find his shoes if he took them off somewhere.
Were Wheeler boys there as well? Eric Wheeler and Alec?
Alec Wheelis, Eric Wheelis, Spencer, Saul Spencer, Larry Spencer's son.
When we have a picture of Larry Spencer in the Manor photos, huh?
Yes, they are. He's in those photos.
Yeah.
Now you're 9 years old, taking care of these kids as a nanny. Did you you go to school?
No, it was summer. So
okay.
We were out for summer. We would go to course. We'd go to study course every day. And the supervisor was terrible. It was nothing like I was introduced to in Miami when I did the TR's course and all of that. That was an excellent supervisor. This supervisor was terrible. And I remember Cheryl Murray, the Murrays were all there as well. Dawn Murray was the baby that we were taking care of. I think Ginny and Joe Murray had 7 kids.
Wow. And they were in the Sea Org with 7 kids?
Yep. And Dawn Murray was the baby. And Cheryl Murray was my age. And we would take these kids to MacArthur Park. Park.
That's scary.
It is.
Needle in the park. Yeah.
Get this. We knew the all the bums. We knew the mirror man. He would talk to himself in the mirror. We all called him that. We knew the rug lady. She had a rug on her head. We knew the sheet lady. She would take her sheet off at the laundry and be naked at the laundromat when she would wash her sheet. We knew these people. And we would go to MacArthur Park and take the kids through MacArthur Park to play on the swings and what have you. 2 9-year-olds taking the toddlers to MacArthur Park.
How many toddlers between the 2 of you?
6 each.
So 12 kids.
12.
Yes.
Wow.
12 babies being watched by 2.
We were walking from Beacon Street to MacArthur Park.
And that was coming down past Celebrity Center to get there, right? You had to go down 8th Street. or Alvarado?
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, and I remember Celebrity Center because I got to meet John Travolta back in the day over there.
Right.
And
Okay.
I met your mom, Yvonne.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was those people I loved. That was great.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we had a lot of fun at MacArthur Park, but when we had to go do chores that Fred Queen would assign us, they were insane. We went to Excalibur to clean the Excalibur. And
down to the ship.
We up there, yeah. We went to the ship. We were up by the portholes. Kids 9 years and up. We didn't have anybody younger than 9 years old out there. But I mean, we're in front of those portholes where the trash and stuff would come out and play jokes on each other. And honestly, you could have gotten killed from that.
Yeah, the ships are not for kids.
No,
I mean,
no,
I saw that.
Not unsupervised.
Well, we were supervised, but not very well.
Yeah.
Right.
And we were out there, you know, scrubbing the same stuff over and over and sweeping dirt storage areas. And I mean, that's the kind of stupid stuff he would assign.
You guys were sent to the ship for work or as a privilege or as an experience?
To go clean
just
and
to clean.
As an experience. Yeah, as an experience. It was,
but what about school?
Hyped up to us kids as a privilege.
Right. But you didn't do any school?
No, we had study every day, but that's it.
Oh, you
it
did?
was summer.
Okay.
We weren't in school. It was summertime.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
At that time. Yeah, I had come out with my mom. She was engaged, or at least dating very seriously, Paul Schroer.
Yeah, there's a picture of him.
And that picture's from when I first met him. That's where that picture's from. Yeah, that's him.
That's Paul Schroer. A lot of people who are at Gold or in RTC would know Paul Schroer. He married Lisa Allen, who became Lisa Schroer.
Yeah,
and,
Lisa is a lot younger than him, and he was a lot younger than my mom. My mom's boyfriends were always younger than her.
I remember Paul very well from Gold when he had a pit bull, and it attacked my dog. And,
I remember Babe. I remember your dog. I love Babe.
Yeah, the sweetest.
Everybody knew Babe.
Exactly.
Babe was the dog of the base. Everybody knew Babe.
Yeah,
that's right. She was sweet. Yeah, everyone thought they owned her. But
I drove cross country with him. My mom and he took me cross country to California, from Miami to California. They got a station wagon and took me. She had an approved leave to do that.
Was he on leave with her to get you?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I went cross country with them, and that was a blast. That was fun. But when I got to Cadet Org, that was crazy. That was crazy. I mean, there was some fun stuff that we did. Honestly, MacArthur Park was fun, but and Excalibur was fun to me. But when I think about it, it was very, very dangerous and should not.
Yeah. So
shouldn't have been a nanny.
Did you get to see your mother? Did you get to see your mother during that summertime, or was she working all the time?
Oh yeah, she would come every day for family time. And finally, I got super, super sick. I went PTS, potential trouble source. I got super sick while I was at Beacon Street at Cadet Org. And I got so sick, I could not hold any food down. I got super, super thin, and I was getting near death. I couldn't even pick up a pair of scissors. I was so weak.
Wow.
My mom was like, okay, that's it. You're out of here. And she came and got me, and she took me over to the Manor and worked out with Jeanette Barnes, who was running the mess hall or the dining room.
Oh, okay. So,
Over there.
but Jeanette, when she went to Los Angeles, she actually went there to be the commanding officer of the Western United States Management. So
That
she
was
must have
later.
gotten.
No,
Okay.
it was later. She did do that.
Okay.
And then, yes, she got busted, and then she became CEO of the organization that ran
The Manor.
No, the Cadet Orgs.
Oh, Estates
That's
Org.
how that worked. Yeah, the Estates Org.
The Estates Org. Yeah.
She was the CEO of that.
Okay.
But anyway, she was, at that time, she was in charge of the mess hall and the dining room, and she was getting it all set up and getting it worked out for the executives there. And my mom knew her and set up that I could stay in one of the rooms as long as I helped renovate the room and helped at the dining room. And so I got put in one of the rooms that was mostly renovated. It was gorgeous, gorgeous room I had at the Manor. Complete difference between a 9-women or girl dormitory with a slowpoke sucker in my pillow. So I was almost instantly better. I mean, like the next day I was eating and I was okay, and I needed to get away there. And I started working every day at the dining room, and I was happy as a lark. I would literally skip up and down the halls. I was so happy doing what I was doing, and I would service the executives and the officers that would come to the dining room to eat at the time. And otherwise, I got to play all day in the forestry that was there at the Manor. It was gorgeous, and I loved it. And my mom was in the FOLO, the Flag Operation Liaison Office, was in the basement. Yeah, and that's a picture of a bunch of people that were in the finance office with my mom. I only know one person in that picture, Larry Spencer. He's the second one in from the left, next to that, standing up in the dark blue. That's Larry Spencer. I recognize the other people, but I don't remember their names.
What was your mom's name? What was your mom's name?
Her name is Phyllis O'Brien at that time.
Okay.
See, this shows how there was a lot of nice greenery around the Manor.
Oh,
Lots
yeah.
of bushes and trees and.
Oh, it was. There was a lot of forestry there and nice tennis court.
Yeah, that's the back of the tennis court.
And that's Paul Schroer again. I forgot the guy's name in the middle. I did know him. And the guy on the end is Jim Cormier. And his
on the left
was there too, Ted Cormier. They were all in the finance office there.
Right.
I recognize the guy. I recognize the guy on the right with the sideburns and the white shirt. He was
George
in finance.
Rathbun. That guy is George Rathbun.
Okay.
George Rathbun. Okay.
And George, the only reason I remember him so well is because he was missing a finger.
Oh.
And we used to always talk about it and say that, he could do his OT levels and grow it back. I was a kid, so we would talk about that. And
right.
He was always saying he was going to do that. So that's why I remember him so well. But I don't remember the other names.
Maybe one of our guests will, one of our viewers will recognize some people and put it in the comments section for us.
Yeah, I'm sure that somebody will remember.
Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
did you end up staying out there after that summer? What happened?
No, I had to go back because I wanted to stay. And L. Hubbard was saying, no, you need to finish school. I asked to get out of school twice. So at that time I was 9, and it was like, no, you should finish school. So I went back to Florida kicking and screaming. I really didn't want to go back. I wanted to stay with my mom. I wanted to stay at the manor. I wanted to keep working with Jeanette. I loved all of it. And I cried my head off for 2 days before when I had to go back to Florida. And I went back to school, and I did finish elementary school, 6th grade, and 7th grade junior high in Florida.
Now, while you were back in Florida, did your mom come and visit you at all, or she just stayed in the Sea Org and your grandparents were raising you?
She brought me back. She stayed in the Sea Org, but she did visit, and my grandparents were raising me, and my dad, who was not involved in Scientology or the Sea Org at all at the time. And I did a lot of things with my dad. We would go out on boats, and from the age 3 years old forward, my dad always had a boat, and we were out in the water, and I learned a lot from him about the water. So,
and it's paying off with your job today.
Now. Yeah. So I got to do that, and I was going to Miami Org all the time. The whole time I was back finishing school, I was going to Miami Org as well. And then when I was 11, I want to say, my mom got sent on mission to Miami Org. And while she was on that mission, she got permission to bring me back that summer to Cadet Org. And Cadet Org had been cleaned up. Fred Queen had been found out about and removed, and they moved it to a place called Melrose. It was literally
it was its own building, right? It was just a building gotten for the cadets.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. It was pretty nice. And so I was like, I wanted to try again. And I found out that Jeanette Barnes was the person that was in charge of the estates for Cadet Org. So that made me super happy. I was like, well, okay, I still get to work with Jeanette. I'll go back.
Well, Jeanette watches this show.
Great.
So yeah, so she'll be happy to see you.
Yeah, I was like all for it. Just a lot of the reason was because of her, because I really liked her.
Yeah, lovely lady.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
She came to Miami. Did you have pictures of us at the Biscayne Bay house that Miami Org staff had that they were living in? And my mom
lived pictures
there
of
while
them.
she was on mission. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the April Hall album. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Is it somewhere? Let's see, back here.
There's my mom.
Well, there
was
it
her
is.
at the Manor. That's her at the Biscayne Bay house.
Okay.
And if you go back one, that's her at the Manor. No.
Not that one.
That's her at the Manor, right there.
Oh, okay.
In her Sea Org uniform.
Yeah, she's in her Sea Org uniform there at the Manor. And the other picture at Biscayne Bay is later. Not that. That's not my mom. I don't know who that is. That's somebody at Asho with her child, and that's my stepdad. He became my stepdad when I came back to
What was his name?
Gary Forsch.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that little girl there with Gary, That little girl there is in both those pictures. And what was her name, April? Liz?
I think, I'm not sure. I thought it was Liz Teal, but now that I look at these pictures, I don't think that's her.
Okay, well, a little girl with the name Liz with red hair. If you recognize yourself, let us know in the comment section.
You don't think it's Liz Gale? I mean, Liz Gale is younger than that, right, Janis?
Yeah, I think she's younger than that, because I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was like 70, 75. So
your mother came to Miami on a mission and then took you back?
Yes.
And
took
you were
me
back. Working with Jeanette, and you were in the Cadet Org.
And I went to Cadet Org in Melrose, and I stayed. It was good, pretty good.
Now, when you showed up at the Cadet Org at Melrose, was there an adult there running the kids and everything? Because I know you were there, and you somehow became the commanding officer of all those kids.
Yeah, it wasn't we weren't running ourselves. We weren't organized yet. When I got there, when I got there, it was an adult running the org. And I was put in as a steward and morning cook for the officers.
Kids or for adults?
Both.
At 11 years old.
11 years old?
Yes. Yes, I learned how to crack 200 eggs in the morning, mix them all up, and do short order on the grill for the adults coming through. We would go from Melrose over to Hollywood Inn. Those pictures where you thought it was a restaurant, Janis? That's Hollywood Inn. They had a nice dining room there when we bought the building. And
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know.
Alley there. That's Gene Smith, Mike Smith, and Larry Spencer.
Right. And Mike was the flag banking officer for all of the U.S.
Yes.
And I remember Gene and Mike from the ship, because they came there for training. And I remember Hubbard talking with Gene and Mike, and the LRH used to telex a lot with Mike as well. And that's a different Mike Smith than little Mike Smith, who was in the Guardian's office in West US.
Completely different.
Yes.
Personality and all.
But this is the Hollywood Inn dining room that April's talking about.
Yeah, it was on the ground floor in the back of the building. I know exactly.
Yes. Yeah. It was really nice. And the kids, certain cadets, that was their job, was to go over there, set all the tables for the officers to eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and help make the meals. There was an adult making the meals, but us kids got trained on how to make certain things, mostly breakfast and salads. Those were most of the things we got trained on, and lots of dishwashing and lots of moving of produce, because they would bring it over and put it in the big freezers that were over there.
Right.
Because
I was a dishwasher at 11 years old.
I know. I was going to say, Janis, should bring back memories. They're not so sweet ones, but yeah.
We had fun. We had a lot of fun.
What was Hollywood Boulevard like in 1975?
Well, the big deal was, at that time, was Young Frankenstein movie that come out, and all us and Elton John's Benny and the Jets. We would get on that piano that was in the dining room there and act like we were playing Benny and the Jets, and we would take a long time on the S. Jets. and just play around and joke around about it.
Well,
And
I remember Hollywood Boulevard when I got there in 1977, and I lived at the Hollywood Inn and worked there because I was getting ready to go to Clearwater. But we got paid peanut. I think we got paid $5 a week. But Saturdays we got off for some reason, and we would go. The movie theaters are all right there. I mean, literally,
Yeah.
they're 10 feet away or
Yeah.
whatever. But we used to go to the World Theater that was between the Manor and the Hollywood Inn because it was 3 movies for $1. And
yeah,
you
I
could get
used to
popcorn
go
for
to the
25
Egyptian theater,
cents.
same thing. And I'd watch all the Bruce Lee movies.
Yeah,
Well,
you go see the movies on our day off.
Yep.
in 75, I used to eat in that dining room at the Hollywood Inn because I was on mission with John Eastman to AOLA when Sam Laurier was the commanding officer. And it was
so
over, it was in the,
you.
yeah, and it was located, the AO was in the annex of the Manor, which later became,
Right.
when they moved
Yeah,
to
remember
the blue building, the annex became the Cadet Org, or the child care.
Yeah, it was on
Right.
Bronson, right? Bronson Street.
Yeah, and Bronson, yeah.
That's where I did my
Yeah.
Dianetics internship when the AO was there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we probably saw each other back then.
Probably.
Yeah.
Now, did you still have family time with your mother and
Yeah. And that worked out really great because they moved the offices for the finance office over to the Hollywood Inn. As you saw in the pictures there,
right.
Their offices were over there too. They moved them from the Manor over to Hollywood Inn.
Right.
So
they moved the whole liaison office.
Exactly. So
That's
I
how
could
it
see
was
my
when I
mom
got
all
there
the
in '77. When I got there in '77, it was the same. There were,
Yeah.
management actually downstairs, if I recall. I think the offices
In the basement.
Yeah, in the basement. That's right. I could go see her every time I came there to do all the meals.
Right.
And then at Melrose, they moved. They built a pretty nice galley, and they started having officers eat over there instead of shipping us back and forth between Melrose and Hollywood Inn. And because I remember when I was going to school, I started going to school after the Hollywood Inn move. And it was easy because the school wasn't too far from Melrose building that we were in. And I was in the galley there too. And there was twins there, Thelma Summers and Kim and Beth Summers were her daughters. They were twins that were in the galley. I remember them very well. And they showed me how to make the best omelet you ever had. And I remember
you're making omelets tomorrow, April.
I remember Jim Isaacson was one of the people I had to serve. No, Joyce didn't come over.
Okay.
And I remember Jim was a real pill to me. He was not a happy guy. I don't think he was doing well.
Yeah, he never smiled. I don't remember him ever smiling.
No, he was grumpy as could be. And, my stats were based on votes, and I did everything I could to try to please him, but he just seemed so grumpy. But I got good votes from him.
Okay.
The stewards got votes from whoever they were serving.
Right. Now, I have a question, because you said you were going to school when you were at Melrose. So
Yes.
Did all the kids there go to school together?
Yep.
And then you'd come back and you'd work after hours and do the kitchen and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, not much, but yes.
Okay.
Did you get time to be kids and play or anything like that? Or was it just work and go to school?
No, we got to play. And we got taken to the beach twice a week. I learned that you could not snorkel in Santa Monica
No.
Unless you wanted to try to drown. It's just waves. There's nothing to see.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
I didn't know that body of water would be so different to Florida, where
Yeah.
there's the snorkeling's wow. And you go to Santa Monica, and I figured out finally you should learn to surf. So I learned to surf.
Okay.
But yeah, all us kids got to go twice a week, and we got bused to that, and that was wonderful. As long as you were upstat and your rooms were clean.
Right.
And then a mission came, and I forgot who headed it up. It was before the mission that put me on.
Okay.
And put a gentleman named Bob Rafe, or Robert Rafe, who had just finished the EPF. He was 15 years old, I think. Put him on as CO Cadet Org. And they made up a whole organizing board and tested all the kids with tests, and you had to decide if you were going to be in the Sea Org or not. And there was some rule about, until you were 18, if you had decided to be in the Sea Org, you didn't have to stay because you're not legal age to decide.
Right.
Somehow that was the rule, which I'm amazed at because everything else was so crazy. But yeah, we were allowed to
Sorry
do
about
that.
that. Misha was barking at the Amazon guy. Sorry.
So we all got tested. You did the IQ tests and aptitude tests and personality tests,
Right,
and that to figure out which post you should be put on and what job you should have. And all the kids got put on a post and got a great big org board got made up, and we were put in charge of ourselves.
so it sounded very organized, and were there out ethics kids or
Yeah.
Kids getting involved in sex together or drugs, and I mean, was that also going on at the same time, and kids being allowed to just wander the streets of Hollywood? Or was that just a later whole scene?
That was kind of later, somewhat. To start with, during that time, it was the worst thing that the kids would do when they would be out ethics is drink. They get a hold of alcohol, or have sex with each other, or experiment. Most of them were experiment.
Right.
They don't know what they were doing, or steal, or run off, ride their bicycle somewhere crazy and have to get
Right.
found because they ran away or whatever.
Right. So that's always been a problem. Never goes away.
Right.
Well, your kids.
But at least they didn't have to stay or be in the Sea Org if they didn't want to be.
Right.
Sea Org was made extremely popular because all the upstat kids got to do so many things, like going to the beach twice a week. We got to go to movies and see big shows and this and that. So
April,
Right.
let me ask you, because I remember the PAC, the Los Angeles Sea Organization, in the late 70s, was a lot looser on schedule. In other words, like the Sea Org staff got days off. I mean, like, I don't know if it was every other week,
got
but
the
it seemed
weekend
like,
off.
yeah, exactly. That's what I remember. I remember we were off on the Saturday, and Sunday was CSP, and it was very, very much more free time for the parents and for the staff, right?
Yeah, I got to spend free time with my parents every weekend.
Yeah, it was different.
Nice.
It was different than later
Yeah.
on when, it became like, oh my God, the parents, they got to stay on post and they can't see their
Yeah,
kids. You know?
The kids are just dev T. They're
Yeah.
developed traffic. No one needs them around.
Yeah, and you obviously are very independent as a young kid, right? In other words, you were used to doing things on your own and taking responsibility for other kids and for your job, right?
Yeah, my mom said I was 40 at 5.
There you go. So, well, how old were you when they made you the commanding officer of the Cadet Org?
11.
11. So
11
you
or-
were
I was almost 12.
almost 12. So the 14-year-olds were listening to you, or they were off smoking pot and ignoring you?
Oh no, everybody listened to me. Once I became the
You ran a tight ship.
That was it. That was it. They listened. Bob Rafe, I actually got him removed. He was having sex with a couple of the cadets, and he had handcuffed one of the girls to an electrical socket where they could have gotten electrocuted and killed. It was sparking when I walked in. And I wrote up reports on all of this stuff that was going on. And that's when a mission was sent with Lisa von Schura from the CMO.
Lisa Catano.
Well, she was
Mark, your old.
Oh yeah, really?
Your old
That was
sister-in-law.
my old sister-in-law. Really? Okay.
Yeah. She came and she put me on as commanding officer, and Bob was sent to Project Force. I think RPF was just coming into being, and he was sent to the RPF.
Okay.
The CO at the time. And
so there was abuse going on, but then you would report it if you saw it, right? In other words, is that what happened?
Yes, I reported on everything I saw. There was a couple of kids that were stealing. I reported on all of it. And when that mission came in, all of those kids either were disciplined or went to the RPF. One of the two. I made it very appealing to be upstat and to be with it.
Yeah. Did you say the kids went to the RPF?
Bob did, yes.
Oh, Bob, not the kids though. Not the kids.
Not the other kids. No,
Okay.
They got disciplined.
Yeah.
Got it.
But you know, when
Bob
April
was
went
considered
up,
old enough
Okay.
at 16, I guess.
Oh, he was 16.
Well, by the time he was 15 when they put him on, and he lasted about a year. And then by the time they took him off, he was 16, and
okay.
it was. I guess they considered he was old enough for the RPF. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
But Mark, I first heard of April when Hubbard ordered, get the best cadet and make them the commanding officer. And that's when April's name came up as April O'Brien as the most ethical of all the cadets, and that the others all listened to her. So that's how she ended up as the commanding officer of all the cadets.
Well, it makes sense. She was the one that was getting them to do TRs in art class when she was 7 or 8 years old. I mean, she's like leader of the pack, you know?
Yeah.
It actually got pretty good. Even walking to school, you know, Scientology and the Sea Org wasn't very popular with the kids at school. They even called Melrose, where we live, they called it Hotel California, because you can check out anytime you want, but you can't really leave.
Yeah.
That's why they called it that. And it got really popular once I was on as CO. And the kids at school wanted to become part of Cadet Org. And were going to their parents trying to get into Cadet Org. And I'm like, they're not even Scientologists. They wanted to come be part of our organization.
They wanted to learn. They wanted to learn how to make those omelets.
We
Now,
actually,
how far? Go ahead.
that mission that Lisa did was pretty successful. They even had us white glove every single room. Everyone had to white glove their rooms and learn how to do a white glove. It was very, very strict because a lot of disciplinary stuff happened because of all the reports I had written on all the craziness that was going on. And we had to do that. And we actually renovated our own course room and created it ourselves with plants and paintings and nice stuff. They actually paid to have that done. And we had a great big playground. They brought in those big cement tunnels that you put under the road for sewer.
You mean like big pipes?
Big pipes.
Yeah. Big cement pipes. They put them on the playground for us to paint. And we painted designs on them like butterflies and deers and whatever. And we painted the fence. I remember when we painted the fence because we got in a paint fight and I got blue paint on my eyebrows. I remember that. It was fun though. And the fence looked really cool, and all of those things that we painted looked really cool.
I was going to say, the way you describe it is different. We've interviewed other people who were in the Cadet Org and PAC 10 years after you were, like in the mid to late 80s, and it was a completely different scene. What I mean?
I told Janis I was reading about that. It was just horror stories.
Yeah. Somehow at some point it got really bad because the kids were neglected and nothing was happening and this and that. But it sounds like you were, reporting things and getting them handled and sorted out. Now, let me ask you this: did you finish school, or how? At what age did you? How long were you going? How long were you in school? Let's just put it that way.
After I was on CO for a year or so, Janis's sister came to see me. And let me turn that off. She came to see me and wanted me to come to the CMO. And I didn't know what the CMO was. I just poo-pooed it. I said, I want to be an executive. I don't know what that is. I don't want to be a messenger. I'm not going to run messages. That's going to be a downgrade. I had no clue. And her sister just kind of laughed at me and thought that was funny that I didn't know what the CMO was, because most people in PAC knew what it was. But, Cadet Org was pretty in its own bubble by the time I was running it. And we were doing missions into the different organizations. This is how the cadets would do in the summer and on the weekends when we weren't in school. One day of the weekend would be missions into the PAC organizations to clean up backlogs, like missions that we did were CF backlog filing, things like that. And I even went to CO's council. I met Janis's mom there, and I met Holly Carlson,
and you're like 13.
Yeah. I was 12.
12.
Yeah.
As one of the commanding officers in the PAC area, she went to the weekly CO meetings with Kyle Carlson, my mother, Irene Durman, and Holly was the one who ran these, because by then she was the commanding officer of West US.
And Miriam Earl. I remember Miriam Earl being there.
So April was treated with total respect. Sam Lauria,
yeah, he was there too. So I was one of the commanding officers, and I went to that meeting. Lisa Von Schurer, when she did the mission, she was training me on how to interact at the meeting and how I could contribute and what to do. And most of the time, what I discussed with the other commanding officers was, having the cadets come to their org and doing a mission of some sort, like
Sorting central files.
Yeah. So that's what I did at those meetings.
Got it. But so you were talking, I was asking you, how long did you go to school, if you're just regular education?
Well, I was still going to school at Melrose, and it was, I really liked the school that was close to Melrose. It was pretty nice. And I was living a pretty happy life. And when Terry came to get me, we were moving to Fountain View was the name of the
Fountain building. The Fountain building.
And we had just gotten the complex, a big blue building.
Right.
Wasn't big blue building then. And CMO PAC was being started, and Terry had come to, she said LRH wanted me to be a messenger. And that he said,
Terry was your sister, right, Janis? And
yes.
Was she the commanding officer in PAC for the CMO at that time? Is that what was going on?
Actually, I think at that time she was the commanding officer of everything, because we were just setting up.
Okay.
We had Clearwater, and we were just setting up PAC, and she was over everything at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think. I really wasn't sure what her position was. Like I said, we were kind of in a bubble.
Yeah.
She humored me, and then she explained, and then I was like, oh yeah, I want to do that. And I told my mom about it too, and I remember my mom was saying, oh yeah, I had been on the ship, and my mom had been on the ship. She was getting trained as a flag banking officer, and she said she saw the messengers working with L. Ron Hubbard, and that it was really fantastic, and I should take advantage.
Yeah, it was considered the top. When you got in the Sea Org, I got in the Sea Org, I didn't know what it was, but that immediately you find out who they are, and that was kind of the place to be if you were young, particularly if you're a teenager or a young adult. If you had any ability, you wanted to be in the CMO because you were closer to L. Ron Hubbard, was what the plan was,
Right. And it got explained to me. And I decided, that was a good idea. And at that point, I was 14. And I was, I was just turning 14. I was 13.
Okay.
And I petitioned LRH to get out of school again, so that I could be at CMO PAC full time and not do school and work. And I also hated the school that was by Fountain View. When we moved Melrose to Fountain View, the schools over there were not so good. A lot of gangs, and gang things were happening at the school that I really didn't like, and I was way ahead at school because I studied on course at Cadet Org, and Miami, where I went to school in Miami, was way ahead of LA. So the kids that were in LA at the schools there were way behind. So I really wanted to get out, but he said no, I had to finish school. So I finished school. But I did it with a bunch of help. My mom saw that I was so distraught and upset about it that she got a tutor. You might know her, Sylvia Harris. You remember Sylvia Hare.
Yeah, Sylvia Hare was a very old lady. Well, when I was little, she was an old lady. She was a trained teacher. Yeah, she was a trained teacher, and she was actually the mother of Fred Hare, Jane Hare, and Tina Hare. Tina Hawkins. She was married to Jeff. Yeah, little old lady wore a scarf around her head.
I have a picture of her giving me my high school certificate. I'll have to dig that up somewhere.
Oh, okay. So you got your GED before you were 16.
Oh no, I finished high school.
Oh, okay.
But I finished at
All
15 and a half because she tutored me, so I got extra credits. And I was going to on course. I was doing all my administrative training. I did lots of hacking and training administratively. I loved it. I did Vol 0, all the volumes, FEBC. I did all
when April says volume, she's talking about the policy letters written by Hubbard regarding the administration side of Scientology. Yes, Mark.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think this is a good point to break. We're at a minute, hour 10. But we'll continue the story, the next time we have April on. I did want to ask, you did get to see Terry for the first time in a long time the other night, right? How was that?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. We talked all about when she came to get me, and she didn't remember at first, and then she remembered.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. No, she loved seeing you.
Yeah.
She really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys are freezing up a little bit. That's the other reason why it's time that we should end off. I don't know what's going on, but the picture's freezing every once in a while.
Okay.
All right. Well, April, we got more to do with you for sure. We're going to have you back, but we appreciate you being here. And we just want to tell all of our viewers, please subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, notification button. As Janis likes to say,
rock slam that like button.
That's right. If you have any questions or comments about what we talked about, please go down below. We appreciate any feedback. If you want to support our channel, buy us a coffee. You can do that down below. There's a link in the description, and we appreciate that. And of course, you can always buy Janis's autographed copy of her book. She'll personalize it to you. She has book 1 and book 2. Just go right down below. You'll see a tag there. Click on it. It's got photos, great stories, and she'll autograph it personally for you. So if you want to order that, you can do that down below. And
she's going to come visit me and sign mine.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Oh, that's a good
I need
thing.
a little
trade-off.
I need some ocean swimming.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's not Santa Monica water down in the Caribbean.
No.
Okay, everybody. Until next time, we want to thank you, April, for being here. And we will talk to you all later. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.